Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. I promise we are going to be rolling here right towards lunch soon, and let's see if we can stay awake. My name's John Wadsworth. I'm from Beckers Group. We are an international coil coating manufacturer. That means that we make paint, things that go onto metal roofs and siding, also industrial equipment. And I'm here to tell you a little bit about a real practical case study. We've heard a lot about very new things, AI at the edge, 5G. We're getting a little bit of feedback on the microphone, I think. But I'm going to talk just a little bit about a very practical case study of what we were able to do in one of our factories to help transform and improve efficiency. Again, Beckers Group, you can see the things we make here, automotive products, but it's basically paint to coating steel and aluminum for industrial products. We operate in a batch manufacturing sort of capacity. So what batch manufacturing means is it's a lot like making a batch of cookies. You get all your raw ingredients together, you do something to them, and then you output the cookies or the paint or whatever it is that you're going to be sending out to your customers. So as we're making that batch of paint, or any batch manufacturing really around the world, everyone is asking the question, where's that batch at? Is it over in the QC already? Is it still in manufacturing? What's going on with this particular batch? Production wants to know because they need to know what's going on. Planning wants to know. They need to use the equipment later on in the process. What's going on with this batch? Maybe the customer is calling and they want to know, where's my paint at? Where's my product? Everybody wants to know, where's it at? Early days, we had trouble with this, where we did not know where something was at. So if customer service wanted to know, they get on the phone, calling the production supervisor. He'd have to go run out to the factory floor, chase somebody down to find out where things are at. So they called IT, and they said, shouldn't we have a system for this? And of course, the answer is yes. And we looked in our ERP system and found out, wait a minute, we've already got a field for this. We've got batch status. So let's just take that batch status, add in tell the factory floor to make status 20 be if you're getting ready to start manufacturing, 30 if you're sending to QC, et cetera, et cetera. No problem. We'll put a computer out there by the factory floor so the folks can go in, register their data. Wonderful. IT delivered the computer, trained the production supervisors. Everybody knows exactly how to do the system. We grabbed a cup of coffee and head back to the office and waited for the data to roll in. And the data did not roll in. As you can imagine, just adding a computer into the process does not always get the job done. So we said, you know what, maybe we made it a little too complicated. We were asking a lot of data entry here. We'll get modern with this, and along with every batch of paint, there's a batch ticket. It's like the recipe for the cookies that goes along with each batch. It tells them what to add and how to do it. And on there, we'll add a barcode that will help so that when they don't have to type in all those characters, they can walk up to the computer where they're going to make their batch change at. They'll scan the barcode on the piece of paper, and they'll be able to update the status that way. We're going to save them like half the characters they had to type. It'll be so much more efficient. Gave them the barcode scanner, trained them on everything, walk back to our office, another cup of coffee, waited for the data to roll in. A couple of weeks go by. Maybe we're getting 30 to 40% of the batches are actually getting data in the system. It's a little bit more efficient now. It's a little bit less errors in the data now that they don't have to manually type things. But still, we're not getting to the goal of actually tracking and really knowing where things are at. Customer service still has doubts, and the business doesn't have confidence that they know where things are at. So finally, we took a third step back here and said, okay, what are we doing wrong? And it turns out we are operating things from a computer-first standpoint. In our company, this was before we really were talking a lot about OT. We're in IT, and we think that the way to solve anything is throw another computer at it, put another system in place, something simple like that. What we needed to do was step back and think in terms of who are these people on the floor, in the factories, day to day, what are they actually doing, and what do they actually care about? So we watch them as they go out, and they take this piece of paper, the batch ticket, and what we found was that as they're going through their process, they take that, when they're done with manufacturing, they'll take that over and put it in the pile over here so the quality control folks can take it to the next step. There's another pile of paper over here, so quality control, when they hand it off to shipping, they can hand it off and put it there. So we thought, now wait a minute, if we've got this, we've got them down from, they don't have to do like 30 key presses or clicks in order to get to track things. Maybe they get it down to 10. Could we get it down to 5 clicks? Could we get it down to no clicks at all, where they don't actually have to interact with technology in any way? That's where we came up with this idea of zero-click manufacturing. Can they actually do the entire process from end to end, tracking things, but without actually them feeling like they're using a computer? Could they do it as simple as doing a price scan at the grocery store? And you scan a barcode somewhere, and it pops up and tells you what you need to do? You don't need any training for that sort of a system. So that's what we've got. So as you can see here on the screen now, we've got these little, they're smaller than about half the size of my fist. It's a data logic barcode reader that is not something that someone would pick up and point at a piece of paper, but it's physically mounted on the wall so that someone can walk up with a batch ticket, and instead of just putting the piece of paper in the pile to hand off to the next step, they've got one extra step. Scan it, listen for the beep, and put it in. Your data has now been logged. You can move along with your production process. Adoption rates went way up. It's so easy, a caveman could do it. You've heard this, right? You've heard this phrase? Okay, well, these are not cavemen doing this, but these are, making the process as simple as possible actually helps us get to the goal line. So what actually happens when they scan that barcode? Hope you can see the small writing on here. It's not too bad. So one decision we made along the way was to not modify the ERP system at all here. Now, generally in IT, we prefer to, if we've got a system for something, let's not build an extra sidecar system and extra things floating around. We're creating more dependencies. We're creating more things we have to take care of as far as IT. That makes us be less efficient if we have more things to take care of. But in this case, we did decide to create a sidecar application rather than modifying the ERP system in some way. We created a sidecar so that when the batch ticket number gets scanned, here at the bottom, that would write the batch ticket number along with the station identifier for where it's at into the sidecar database. That way that the system now is tracking all that information. We're also, if you see from the top here, doing hourly polls from the ERP system about all the batches in the system, some relevant information about each of those, so that the system at the bottom right here, there's operational visibility on dashboards, on apps that the customer service, operations, and these folks can see about what's actually going on. In this way, we were able to finally get everybody onto the same page. We're all looking at the same data by listening to what the people needed on the floor and then putting it into action. So, as we're thinking with the end users in mind here, the first end users we're thinking about were the operators. And you can see some of the actual photos of our lovely manufacturing facility that has the information or has the actual barcode readers there. Folks would just walk up, scan, and walk away. Again, simplicity is king here. If we can do this without interfering with their day and what they're doing, we're 2 steps ahead. We're winning. We'll also have no opportunity for error introduced into the system. It's a controlled thing. You can't really screw this up if you're just scanning a barcode and walking away. There's no data to enter, nothing like that. The other end users we had in mind are our supervisors, planners, customer service. In the center, you see an app here that could show up either on a mobile device or on a PC if a customer service is sitting at their PC. This will tell them exactly where every batch is at on the manufacturing floor. I think I didn't mention on the architecture slide, these were built in Microsoft Power Apps. So very low code, simple, easy to create. Easy system. And on the right, you see this is, it's a TV that's hanging in the wall just outside our production area so that people can see exactly what's going on, where are the batches in the system, what's happening next, what needs to go out soon, etc. The outcomes we actually had here. Basically, in a strange course of events, everybody was happy. Production was happy that they didn't have a whole lot of extra work to do. Planning was happy. They could see what was coming. Management was happy because this was not an expensive solution. We had basically were able to make something that was reliable, worked, and was pretty simple. And so basically it was successful. Or was it? There were some people, myself included, along the way, who asked, should we really be doing this at all? I think I mentioned in the beginning that one thing we don't like to do in IT is to create silos, create separate systems that had to be managed and maintained in some way. Listen, we already have one central system for this. Why shouldn't we just be using that system, just adding data to the central system? Well, there are some things I didn't mention along the way. One is that this is a legacy ERP system. It was already out of date, and our global headquarters had been promising us a new ERP system coming real soon. Shouldn't we wait and put our resources into building that system rather than building some kind of sidecar that's going to be doing something else along the way? So we started to see there's this tension here between enterprise standardization of creating something that the entire enterprise can use in a very structured sort of way, and operational agility that happens at the edges in the individual factories where the work is actually getting done. We initially saw this as a tension between these two things. Central saying, build it like this. This is, if we do it in a structured way, then we can scale. And that's 100% true. That's what centralized enterprise standards are for, building things in a standard way so that we can quickly scale. On the other side, we had the operations at the local sites saying, but come on, I've got this actual practical problem here. Can't I solve this at the edge? Why do I have to wait for you in the big organization to do this? It's going to take you months or years to solve this, hopefully. Why can't I just do something? And again, we saw this as a dichotomy that we're like pushing and pulling between these two initially. Moving forward, though, we started to see this as a synergy between the enterprise centralization and the local sites of what they're doing. The enterprise is here to provide structure, to provide a standardized way of doing things, and to provide guardrails so the end sites can move quickly. The local sites are here that they can experiment, they can try things, they can fail quickly at something. Try something, maybe it doesn't work. Okay, great, let's try something else next week. But what the beauty is, when it works together, the local sites can make something, and when they find something that works, send it to global so they can then scale it and move it out to many sites. So what we found in the end here was taking this very practical, albeit simple. I don't think I mentioned AI once. There's no 5G involved here. This is real simple at the edges. But for me, the human factor always has to be taken into consideration and considered as you're doing these things. And what I've come to believe is that it's really only progress if it actually matters to the people on the floor doing the work, getting the work done. Thank you very much. Got time for a couple questions, I think. I don't know what any of these timers mean. What's up?
We have a very similar situation that we talked about in terms of managing the lots or the batches.
Mm-hmm.
Would you consider, let's say, the course on which your coils go, put an RFID, let's say, and then you associate that code, of course, to a batch every time, so you can keep on reusing the code. Have you tried something like that?
Absolutely. We considered this as well, taking an RFID, sticking it onto the mixing equipment that's going to move from station to station, and then you'd need RFID sensors throughout the factory to take that data as well. I think that's another very workable, very possible solution that could absolutely be used. Even less human interaction, actually, in that case. They don't have to scan anything, it just happens to go with it. Absolutely. Again, you're thinking the same things I am. Simplicity is king here. If you can do it without needing people to alter what they're doing for their job, that's the way to go. All right, everybody, thanks for your time. It looks like maybe we've gained a couple minutes and we can get closer to lunch.